Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute, but today we're going to do my August wrap up. So today while I'm filming this, it is August 31st, so I still have today technically to finish a book. That's probably not going to happen because I finished one last night and kind of started another one. So I'm not going to get it done today. I have too much to do. For the month of August, I read 8 books and they were okay. It was okay. There were definitely some really good ones. And there were some really bad ones. So the first book that I read, which I had started in July and I finished it in August, was The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. This is the second book in the Scholomance trilogy, where the third one is coming out in September, which is super exciting. This series is about this main character. Her name is Elle, or her full name is Galadriel, and she is at this school that is kind of like hidden from society. Like, it's kind of in a weird place. Like, you can't get out, people can't get in. It's a magical school. It's kind of a sentient school. There are no teachers. The school provides your schoolwork, everything you need to do, spells, all that stuff. But it also is full of monsters, which are called Maleficaria, which are basically trying to eat and kill the students. So many students do die. You don't ever really see any of them really die, so it's not like gruesome, but they have to try to survive these 4 years at the school. So that's kind of what this is about. And then in their last year, they have some classes, but then they spend a semester like preparing to do this, like, it's not like an obstacle course, but it's basically like a race to the end to get out of the school and like battling and defeating the Maleficaria so they can escape. And so that's kind of what the second book is about. It's their senior year. They're trying to prepare for that. So really good. I love the characters. I love the main character. She's very sarcastic. She's very witty. And I just really like Naomi Novik's writing style in this series. It's really good. It's kind of weird if you're not used to it, but it's really good. That one got 5 stars for sure. It left on a cliffhanger, and I'm so excited for the third and final book to come out in less than a month. So the next book I read was a very pleasant surprise. It was one that I'd seen on TikTok. A lot of people have been posting on TikTok, like they'll post like a little excerpt of part of the story on just like through with music and pictures and stuff, and I fell for this one. It's called Be My Game Changer. I do not know who this is by. I apologize. It will be on the picture. And this is about this professional baseball player and this girl is going to a baseball game with her best friend because he's obsessed with this pitcher who just is returning, and he had like an arm injury and is just finally like coming back to play, and she doesn't want to go. So she's sitting at the game. They're really close, and she's reading her book the whole time. And for some reason, it really draws the pitcher's like eye, and like he approaches her after, and then like the media catches wind of it and all this stuff. And of course, their paths keep crossing, and he kind of pursues her. And it's just like this. It's really cute. It was really short. It was really cheesy, but like in the best way. Like, it was so good. I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised. I was definitely thinking it was going to be really dorky. And also, it's pretty clean. There is, like, maybe one, like, sexual scene. Or a couple, maybe. I'm not sure. But it was very clean. I was shocked by that. And it was just really good. So I gave that one 5 stars. I really liked that one. I read that one on Kindle Unlimited. Loved it. And then after that one, I read one of the worst books I've ever read in my life. It was called Throttled by, again, I don't even know who this one's by. It'll be on the picture. And I read it because someone had told me it's about F1. My husband is obsessed with F1. He watches it every weekend. And I know a good deal about it because of him, and sometimes like when I watch with him. And so like think having a little bit of a notion of what it is and stuff like that, and like the cars and the teams and the brands, it ruined it for me a little bit for the book. But also the book was not great. There are more in the series. I'm not going to be reading them. This book is about these two rival drivers. So 2 years before the book really starts, the rivals get into like kind of a car accident, and then 2 years later they're on the same team. The one who had caused the accident has just joined. His sister is now tagging along, and she's doing like a vlog style of the racing and traveling around the world with him and the team. And the other guy on the team, who's like this awesome racer, is just kind of a jerk, and also isn't really even nice to her ever. And I could not stand reading his point of views. I really should have DNF'd this. He says probably the F word every other word. It wasn't super, like, it wasn't clean, but it wasn't like overly smutty. But I didn't even care for those. And even though it wasn't overly smutty, that guy thought about it all the time. Like, I don't know. I didn't like it. I did not like it. I gave it 2 stars. Obviously, they fell in love. Okay, I'm moving on for that one because I don't like it. After that, I read an amazing book, another like absolutely pleasant surprise, and that was The Bodyguard by Katherine. This was my July book of the month, I believe. Yes. I loved this so much. Like, this was the cutest book I've ever read ever. Okay, not like the cutest, but it was so good. This is about a guy who is a movie star, I guess you could call him, and he has a stalker. He's been out of the limelight for the past couple of years. Once when he and his brother got in a car accident and his brother had passed away. Now his mother is sick, and he goes down to Texas to kind of be with the family and all that. And so he has to hire a bodyguard. And so he gets this girl named, I believe her name's Hannah. And she is like small. She does not seem like a bodyguard. She's so great. I love her. She just got out of a really sloppy relationship and was wanting to go on like an overseas trip for their bodyguard like company, but her boss wouldn't let her, and is like, no, you're on this case. And she really didn't want to be. So anyway, she goes to Texas as well, and he doesn't want his family to know that he has a stalker or that he has a bodyguard. So they pretend to date. So it's one of those fake dating ones. Oh my gosh. Though it was so cute. Like, their like slow burn romance was so good. And it's kind of like a forbidden romance because like she's not supposed to, they're not supposed to fall in love. I will say, trigger warning though, for kind of attempted suicide. It's a plot point towards the end. It's not either one of the main characters, but it isn't in there, and I just want to give you a heads up in case that's not good. This was so cute, and just like the Texasness and like learning the secrets of his past, and like I was rooting for them the whole time, and I was smiling, and it made me happy. It was a very quick read. It was so good. I gave it 5 stars. This is the best book of the month book that I have ever gotten in the past 2 years. So good. And once I finished that one, I moved on to People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This was my, what is it called? The book of the year. So this was the book of the year finalist for book of the month. And if you remember for a year, you get that one, like one of the finalists for free. This was one I chose. This was okay. I do have issues with it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but really I think it was more like 3.5 in my mind. There were good things about this and there were terrible things. I did not like the back and forth. This book is about 2 best friends who have gone on vacation together every single summer for the last 12 years. So we get present day. They haven't spoken in 2 years. And she works for this company that like sends her on like trips that she then talks about like being able to vacation, and like it's in a magazine and all that. And they want to send her somewhere, so she takes off work. She's like, I want to go back on a vacation with this guy. So they go on a vacation together. But with that, we're getting flashbacks, which aren't even flashbacks, they're chapters. So we're going from present day to the last, or like 12 years ago. So then we learn about their very first vacation and when they met, and then it's present day, and then it's 11 years ago. So we go through all of their vacations while also being in present day. It gets a little confusing. It's just like, I'd rather it be linear going back in time. So going like starting off and just being like, give us all of their vacations up to this point and then be present day. I didn't care for the back and forth. It kind of worked, but I didn't love it. That was that one. Oh, and then after that, I read this book because Aramis had been talking about it on her channel. She'd read it in June, I think. And I was like, oh, this sounds really interesting. So I picked it up, and it was Dial A For Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutana, I believe. Picked it up from the library. It had it on hold. Finally came in, so I read it. This was a mess. This was a wild ride, a crazy book. It's about this girl. She lives with her mother, and her aunts are all really close. It really gave me Crazy Rich Asian vibes. Like definitely crazy Rich Asian vibes. But not as good as Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians. Gosh, I can't speak. So her aunties they're from China. And back then they had said that there was this curse and that the men would always die. And then when they came to America, the curse changed to the men would always leave. And so our main character has always been scared to be in a relationship. She had a relationship with this guy who she hasn't talked to in 4 years named Nathan, and broke up with him because of the curse. Present day, her mom set her up on a blind date with this guy. I feel like I should mention though, the aunties, there's 3 aunties and her mom. They all work together through this wedding business. One of them is a photographer, one of them does the pastries, one of them does flowers, and one of them is a DJ. And then the daughter is also a part of it, and she does the photography. And so the mom sets her up with this guy who is actually the hotel guy for the wedding tomorrow. They have a wedding the next day, I should say. So she goes, even though she didn't want to. The mom had set her up on a dating app without the daughter's knowledge, was messaging the guy, whatever. The daughter does agree to go, and he gets a little handsy with her on the drive home, and she doesn't like that, and he goes down like a dark alley, and she tases him while he's driving, so they get in an accident. Well, she thinks she killed him, so her phone is dead. They're in the middle of nowhere. She's scared if she drives to the police that they will think she killed him. So she goes to her house with the dead body. And the aunties decide to just put him in the cake baker's cooler, and they'll deal with it after the wedding. And so, or in the morning. So they go and put him in a freezer. But it turns out he wasn't dead. But they had trapped him in the freezer, and he had died because of that. So they go through the wedding day. Stuff after stuff after stuff after stuff is just crazy and chaotic, and everything just goes wrong. Nothing goes right. Who's the actual hotel guy owner of the place that they're having the wedding? Oh, it's her ex-boyfriend from 4 years ago named Nathan. Like, there's just so much. It was cute-ish. I wouldn't really call it cute. It was kind of funny, but it was too much chaoticness and craziness that I just couldn't deal. So I gave that one, I think, 3 stars. Okay, hang on. While I'm standing up. Wait. While I'm standing up, those of you who have wanted to see a non-really existent bump, I just look chunky. There. Like 5 months, almost, I think. Anyway, okay, so I read that one. So then, I've been reading this book since July. Just like occasionally picking it up when I want to. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm rereading them, going through them just at my own pace whenever I want to pick them up, mainly to find connections, hence why I have the paperback here and not my hard copy. You can see all of the tabbies. You can also see that, where's the one page? It made me laugh. I always ask Nathan if I'm highlighting too much. There's some that are just... I asked Nathan, is this too much highlighting? It's great. There's so many connections. So I went through, I used the tabbies, I highlighted, and I had a pencil that I would kind of write connections on things that I noticed, and like the foreshadowing and the like interworld connections. That's what I've been doing. So I finished that this month. I don't know when I'll start Mist and Fury. It's just kind of whenever I feel like diving back into that world. It's a world that has like, it's just my comfort read. So when I just need something happy, I read those. And then the last book that I read is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. And wow, I was not expecting this book to be so good. I read it almost in a full day. I didn't even know what this was about reading it, but it's freaking good. I gave it 5 stars. I knew nothing about it. I just knew that it was good, and my old neighbor, when we lived in North Liberty, had said that she really liked it, and so I was like, okay. Had it on Kindle Unlimited, decided to finally read it. It's so good. So it's about this woman who just got out of prison after being in there for 5 years because she and her boyfriend at the time had been in a car accident, which she had fled the scene of the crime, which you find out reasons for later in the book. And it turns out that he was not dead when the crash happened, but died about 6 hours later. And so she was charged with involuntary manslaughter. She had a child. She was pregnant while she was in prison, and that daughter was given to the parents of the son who was killed in the car. And the mother's rights were terminated. So she gets out of prison and she goes to this town wanting to meet her daughter, and has been struggling with guilt and grief of losing like the love of her life and never getting to hold or meet her daughter, and just kind of being scared that the families have like absolutely hated her. And she gets to town and she meets his best friend, who she was supposed to meet when they were dating, but he was a professional football player and they didn't really run in, like they never ended up being able to meet. And sparks kind of fly there until she realizes who he is. He is very, very prominent in her daughter's life because he and the guy who died were best friends and lived across the street from each other. And Ledger, he's the guy in town, still lives across the street from them, so he gets to see the daughter every single day. They're like best friends. The mom doesn't realize that until like later. So she has no money, nothing. She's trying to get a job. She's trying to survive. And the family wants absolutely nothing to do with her. Like nothing. They don't treat her well. They try to avoid her and have even put up a restraining order against her. And so it's a really heartbreaking book, but it's the best Colleen Hoover book that I've read. I mean, it's also only the 3rd book of hers that I've read, but it's so good. Like so good. So I highly recommend that book. I really loved it. You get dual point of views. You get her point of view. Her name is Kenna, and you get his point of view, and his name is Ledger. So highly recommend that. 5 stars, absolutely. And I think that was all my books. It's nice to be back. It's good to talk to you all. I haven't been on socials. I've barely been on like Goodreads. I'm here. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. What was the best book that you read in August? If there weren't any, what was the worst book you read in August? Please comment down below because I love to hear your thoughts. And I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!